Hi everyone, it's Mrs. Skippers, the art teacher at Hutchings Elementary. Hey, I wanted to spend a few minutes doing a quick demonstration video to show you how I put together this fun toucan that's kind of in this tropical jungle scene. So I wanted to point out a couple of things before I start the steps of that. And just wanted you to see how my paper is turned wide. And I'm gonna actually start with drawing the branch first, so I can then move on to getting his feet on there and then the rest of his body, and then we'll finish up with some of the background details. Okay, so let's get started. I'm gonna start my first line with the bottom of my branch, and I thought it would be kind of fun to make it a little more creative, to give it a wavy line instead of a really straight line for this tree. And once I have the bottom on here, I'm gonna come back toward the middle, and I'm gonna make the bottom of his claws, and I'm gonna start with two M's, and then I'm gonna add another line on either side, and that's gonna give me actually three little claws, and then I'm gonna close it up with a curve on top. It's not exactly realistic, but this is art, so we can make it a little more creative, right? Okay, so I'm going to then put a line in between. That's gonna be the top of my branch, and then I'm gonna kind of go back this direction a little bit wider at this end, and I'm gonna let it split off as I come over on the other side of my paper. In fact, I'm even gonna come in and I'll add kind of a sideways V, and this will make it look like I've got two branches that kind of shoot off as my limb moves out. All right, I'm ready to start now with the actual body. I want to make sure that I've got plenty of height here for my details. So I'm gonna go up quite a ways and maybe just leave 2 or 3 fingers here at the top before I start drawing the body. This is gonna be kind of a pear shape. So I'm gonna let it start with the head, and then I'm gonna let it get wider as it comes out. And as I come around the other side, I might make this side just a little bit straighter instead of his curve that I did there, and that's gonna be for his big beak. But I'm still gonna let that curve out on the side, and then I'll come back in and add maybe a couple little zigzags on the side to make his side wings. And then I'm ready to come down here and close this up with some tail feathers. So I'm gonna put one in the center, but really isn't quite enough. So I'll finish it off with another little curve on each side, and that will give me a few more feathers there on the bottom. All right, I'm ready to come up and add the details of his eyes and some of the other shapes that you would see that are really colorful if you're actually looking at a real toucan. So I'm gonna give him kind of a dark eyeball that's surrounded by another circle. So I've got 2 circles. Then I'm gonna come all the way over to the right side here, and I'm gonna give this kind of curved shape that just comes back over. So it's not really a complete circle. It's more of an oval, but it touches the side of his face. And I'll come back there, and then I'm gonna add another little curvy line here because this is a really colorful section of feathers there. It looks kind of funny without the beak, but I'm ready now to go in and get that really big curve, which is what is really gonna make him look like a toucan. Kind of comes out straight, and then it curves right down in sort of like a hook shape. I want to make sure that I put a second line underneath that will show the bottom part of his beak. And then just to kind of add a little bit more detail, I'll add a little line here, which typically this is a little bit either a color, or we'll darken it in because it's a defined shape there, as well as a little detail here on the bottom of his beak. So that gives me my toucan. I'm ready to now start thinking about my background details. I'm gonna let you, decide however you wanna do your leaves, but if you're thinking about the tropical rainforest, you're gonna see some really big leaves on those tropical trees. So I had some fun playing around with just some wavy type lines on my leaves. I also did some that looked really a lot like a regular leaf, but then I could go in, I could add some sort of pattern on here if I wanted to. I could do something with shapes or lines. You may even have some fun adding like a big tropical flower. It's totally up to you how you choose to fill in this background. I did think it was kind of fun on my example to add some kind of curvy type of limbs, little branches, and so that's how I did that. I just did sort of a little swirl, and then I would add another line next to it to give it a little bit of thickness so it wasn't a single line on the branch. If you like this type of a leaf here, you can see it's still sort of a football shape, but what I did is I made some triangles and then I went and connected it around there. So I kind of closed up all of those sections. So there's a lot of possibility. It's really just having fun and being creative. So I hope you'll give it a try and have some fun making this tropical toucan.